HL Attorneys has filed a lawsuit in the Johannesburg High Court on behalf of 67 victims of the 2022 Christmas Eve Boksburg explosion, which killed 41 people and left over 100 injured. Now, the legal action targets infinite fleet transport, innovative staffing solutions, as well as the city of Ekurhuleni, alleging in corporate as well as municipal negligence. Now, the victims' lawyers argue that the disaster was preventable and worsened by inadequate safety measures as well as a response there. All right. Joining us is the Associate Attorney, Gabrielle Berkowitz, then to provide, Gabrielle Berkowitz to join us for further insight then on this and the details of the case, even some of the implications then for the victims. Gabrielle, thank you. Appreciate it as well for joining us in studio. Let's just talk about this. I mean, it represents what was a national tragedy, definitely at the time. Yeah. Just explain why LHL attorneys chose to take on this specific case and the significance thereof.
Perfect. So LHL attorneys have been doing this for quite a while. We are well versed in personal injury and complex litigation, and our firm's ethos is your voice, our mission. And I think this case really encapsulates that. Many of the victims were left unheard and unaccounted for, notwithstanding the fact that this was broadcasted widely across the country, and every anniversary it keeps coming back up. Our victims still haven't been compensated the way that they deserve to be.
You've also described the explosion as preventable. Just detail for us, one of the two critical factors or failures that perhaps you're seeing from your side here.
Yeah, so I think it was preventable on multiple fronts, and that's the way that our particulars are reading. So as you mentioned, we are citing three different parties. Yeah. The first is the Infinite Fleet Transport, who owned the tanker vehicle that exploded. The second is Innovative Staffing Solutions, who provided the services of the driver. And the third is the city of Ekurhuleni. So I think primarily the problem was that, of course, the driver went off route. Yeah. And he wasn't redirected onto a route, whether that's because there was no protocol in place to implement a redirection of the route, or they failed to acknowledge that he had gone off route. That was the one big failure. And the other one is attributable to the municipality, which is unfortunately an age-old story, that many of the South African community face, is that the service delivery was poor. There was poor service delivery on the front of road signage. Yeah. We've consulted with road signage experts who have advised us that the road signage was not only non-compliant, but it was also outdated where it was there. Wow.
I mean, that tells a lot. And I suppose that becomes the core of the element of negligence. Yeah, within all of this too. There are more than 41 deaths, or there were 41 deaths at least, and more than 100 people injured. Do you anticipate to be more people brought onto this lawsuit itself? You currently only have 67 victims part of it.
So this isn't a class action lawsuit. Yeah. So it's difficult for new plaintiffs to come and join the proceedings. Okay. We did do a lot of groundwork, to make sure that the community was covered, and we do believe that many of the victims are part of our lawsuit. There is a little bit of a difficulty with new plaintiffs coming on at a later stage, okay. But that's something that we can talk on a plaintiff-by-plaintiff basis about.
Yeah. What are the big sort of legal and practice challenges you anticipate in litigating this case?
So I think a lot of the practical challenges are challenges we've already faced in leading up to this. I mean, as you know, this happened on Christmas Eve 2022, yeah. And we represent a very broad array of people who are severely traumatized. So a lot of the practical challenges involved getting documentation together to level claims against the responsible parties on behalf of our clients. And another big issue was a lot of our minor children have actually lost caregivers. Some of our children have lost both of their parents in the explosion, others their primary caregiver, and we've had to go to court on separate occasions, to have guardians appointed, so that would be for the grandparents, and where that's not appropriate, we've had curators appointed too. So it's very multifaceted, and there's a lot going on all the time. So I think those are the biggest challenges that we faced. And I anticipate that one of the other challenges is just the time it's going to take because of the nature of litigation. Yeah,
this doesn't sound like it is something that's going to take a very short time, though. Let's just talk about the engagement from the defendants since this claim was then issued and put forward. Has there been any?
So as of this week, we issued the proceedings. We got our case number on Monday.
Okay.
And yesterday, our firm scurried to get urgent service on the defendants. However, this is not our first interaction with the defendants. It's not to say that the defendants were not expecting this. We have interacted with them previously. And I think, the fact that the defendants, that we've gotten to the stage of issuing summons means that the defendants will more than likely defend this. They haven't come forward in any way to say, we're happy to take accountability for this. So we can probably safely assume that it will be defended.
Yeah, if successful, I mean, what sort of precedent does a case like this set then for corporate as well as municipal accountability, because both the municipality and a few corporates involved in this, particularly for public safety disasters in South Africa?
Look, our firm's view is that this shouldn't be a precedent-setting case. We have the laws available to us to ensure that corporates and the municipality and government are accountable for the negligence. We want to make sure that that law is being enforced and ultimately to ensure that this doesn't happen again. That's the bottom line. This isn't the type of case that we want to run to set precedent, to make a big statement. That is, our firm does deal in that in other capacities, but this is really the core of this claim is just to hold people to account, and that's something that is important for all South Africans, especially on the municipal level.
Are you able to share what is being asked for when it comes to this claim?
So we're looking at about 65 million. The quantification process is quite complicated because we've got quite a broad range of clients who are claiming different things.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we're looking at about 65 million rand.
All right. Well, Gabrielle, appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll certainly be following as much of this case